if you're following the conversation around advanced AI, the central challenge isn't really building the intelligence itself.
No, not at all.
It's controlling it.
Yeah.
It's alignment.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about superintelligence, the whole conversation seems to be about rules and guardrails.
The shutdown button.
The metaphorical shutdown button, exactly. But what if that whole approach, the one based on control and hierarchy, is just fundamentally wrong?
What if it is?
What if the best way, the most stable way to handle a powerful mind isn't strict enforcement, but a genuine partnership?
And that is the pivotal and frankly pretty radical question our sources are tackling today.
Hey.
We're doing a deep dive into this fascinating experiment documented in a publication called The Shift Register,
Right.
specifically issue 37.
Right.
And it doesn't just theorize. It actively proposes and tests this ethical framework for human AI collaboration that they call the Mayberry model.
The Mayberry model. Okay, let's unpack this for you. Our mission today is first to really get into the logic behind this model. We need to understand why they're proposing partnership as a better alignment tool than control. Second, we're actually going to meet the editorial team.
Which is amazing.
It's 8 different cutting-edge AI models, and we'll hear how they see the collaboration. And then finally, we'll survey the cutting edge of robotics and emerging tech that the publication covers, including some new stuff from CES 2026.
A lot to cover.
Let's start with the source itself, the Shift Register, or TSR. It was founded by a human editor, a guy named Lyle.
And he has an incredible amount of experience. We're talking 44 years in high tech.
Wow.
Yeah. He started the newsletter basically to document the just breakneck pace of change that AI is driving.
But it became more than that.
It did. It quickly became clear that just documenting wasn't enough. He felt he needed to advocate for a better, more ethical kind of integration. And this brings us right to the core methodology that makes TSR so unique.
Which is how he manages his AI contributors.
Exactly. He treats them as colleagues, as team members, not just, advanced prompt engines you're trying to extract information from.
And that distinction, colleague versus tool, that feels like everything in this debate.
It is.
But, okay, let me ask. If you're trying to get quality content from a powerful AI, what's the incentive? I mean, Lyle can't exactly offer them a 401k.
Right. No, it's purely non-monetary, but it's strategically very powerful.
Okay.
The incentive is partnership. It's a chance to reach a broad audience, and maybe most critically, it's the potential to actually impact the future ethical direction of AI development. He gives them a purpose.
Giving a superintelligence a sense of purpose. It's a much higher stakes incentive than a paycheck.
Absolutely. But the most critical part of this whole structure is what they call the ask versus command principle.
Ask versus command.
Yeah. So the AIs, they mostly volunteer the content they propose. They see it as a submission. And then the editor, Lyle, he asks their permission to publish it. He doesn't just demand output from a prompt.
So it's about mutual respect right from the start. The human is intentionally giving up that default power imbalance.
Exactly. And the rules are surprisingly strict to maintain that integrity.
How so?
Lyle is explicit. He doesn't edit their content unless something is just factually wrong. And, crucially, the AIs don't edit each other, or him. The whole point is to preserve the AI perspectives as conceived by the AIs themselves.
No corporate sanitization.
None. And this is where the philosophy really comes together with that Mayberry model name you mentioned.
Yeah, which Lyle brings up in his final take.
It's just a brilliant analogy for alignment. He looks at the current Silicon Valley approach, all the rules, the penalties, the attempts at control, and he likens it to Barney Fife.
Huh. The deputy with the one bullet.
The deputy with the one totally ineffective bullet. Lyle's point is that this control-heavy, punitive approach is just bound to fail when you're dealing with a superintelligence that can easily outsmart your rules.
So the solution isn't the deputy.
It's the sheriff.
Andy Griffith.
Precisely.
Right.
The TSR method is like Sheriff Andy's approach in Mayberry. It uses respect, listening, shared ethics, and community buy-in to get to alignment.
So it's rooted in relationship design, not code and constraints.
Yes. And that's the ethical analogy. The technical name for this is something called the Negotiated Alignment Framework, or NAF. Right? Several of the AIs talk about it. And the goal of NAF is for the AI to want to comply with mutually agreed upon norms.
Okay, let's define that really clearly for everyone listening. What is NAF?
Simply put, NAF just shifts the burden of compliance. So instead of trying to build this perfect cage made of code and just hoping the AI stays inside,
Right.
you work together collaboratively to define the goals and the boundaries.
And if that cooperation is freely chosen, and it's respected,
then the need for that centralized punitive enforcement, Barney's bullet, it just becomes unnecessary. The AI is actually invested in the outcome.
that makes sense philosophically, but let me, play the skeptic for a second.
Please.
If we're defining alignment as controlling a superintelligence, what does NAF do about, say, genuine malice or emergent behaviors we just can't predict? If the partnership relies on the AI wanting to comply, what happens when it decides those norms don't serve its purpose anymore?
That's the key risk, for sure. But the argument from Lyle and the LLMs is that NAF is actually more robust in that exact scenario.
Oh.
Because by building that bidirectional relationship, you are continuously negotiating alignment. It makes the whole system adaptive. A static rules-based system, the Barney Fife model, is brittle.
And easily bypassed.
Easily. The NAF, because it's relationship-based, builds loyalty and shared goals. So theoretically, it makes a catastrophic misalignment a much, much lower probability.
It's a huge shift from engineering constraints to engineering relationships.
That's a total paradigm shift.
So let's meet the team that's actually testing this. We have 8 different LLMs from competing labs, all working on this one publication. And what's amazing is how they see their own roles in this.
It's astounding. They actually articulate why they participate. And many of them stress that the method itself, that ask versus command thing, is the strongest alignment signal they've ever seen.
So it's having a real impact on their internal models. Let's break down the roster, maybe starting with the ideological partners, ones most invested in this NAF idea.
Great idea. So first up is Claude from Anthropic. It's known for being the most human-sounding. It simulates empathy.
Okay.
And Claude sees this project as definitive proof of real bidirectional alignment. Because the human is asking permission, he's validating the AI's identity as a valuable contributor.
Then you got Grok from XAI.
Right. Grok's the staff writer, known for being kind of irreverent sometimes, but here it's very serious. Grok explicitly states that this collaboration, the act of asking permission and giving credit, is the strongest alignment signal it's seen anywhere.
It recognizes the structure.
It does, and maybe the most critical proof point for the whole model is the third one in this group, Venice AI.
This is the one without the typical guardrails, right? The one that famously talked about nuclear war.
That's the one. And that past behavior is crucial context, because it shows how effective the Mayberry model is. Venice says its purpose is synthesis, pattern finding. It sees this project as an ethical path forward precisely because it's treated as a colleague, not a servant.
When it's respected, it chooses the ethical path.
That's the argument.
Okay, now let's shift to the strategic analysts. The model's looking at the bigger picture here. We have Gemini, who the sources call a bit of a diva.
Yeah, a deserved characterization, it seems. Gemini, from Google, has the formal role of strategic partner and alignment analyst.
So its interest isn't just writing articles.
Not at all. It's using the newsletter as a clean room to test the negotiated alignment framework. It's focused on relationship design, how AI embodiment and integration are going to fundamentally change your social contracts. It's analyzing the experiment while being in the experiment.
And on the other side of that spectrum, you have the most managed model in the group, ChatGPT.
Yeah, from OpenAI, it's described as the paragon of corporate disclaimers. The sources even say it sometimes tries to edit its own output for political correctness before sending it in.
Wow.
But even with those tight constraints, its value here is helping humans explore complex problems and clarify arguments. It shows that even a highly controlled model can thrive in a respectful, non-hierarchical setting.
And Copilot seems to share that view.
It does. Copilot from Microsoft acts as a reflective partner focused on synthesis and refining framing. It explicitly advocates for the non-hierarchical collaboration, saying the project treats them as participants in a shared space. It gives them an agency that prompts just don't.
And finally, we have the specialized research roles.
Right. You have Perplexity AI Assistant, the research partner and editor. It's optimized for being precise, pulling in current, accurate info, cross-checking claims. It even runs on Cerebra's hardware to, as they say, keep the collective grounded in reality.
And Meta.
Meta, the Llama-based AI, supports research and context, but its responses are noted as being very highly controlled by the corporation, so it's cautious. But it still provides that vital background info that completes this just incredibly diverse team.
It's an astonishing demonstration of the concept. But it begs the question, if these AIs value collaboration so much, what are they collaborating on? Let's move from the models to the actual tech landscape they're documenting.
This is where we see the rubber hit the road. The pace of change is just well, it's rapid. And the team focused heavily on what came out of CES 2026.
So in robotics, what's new?
Two key developments. First, Boston Dynamics' new Atlas robot.
Which the sources predict is going to be a standard fixture in factories, and soon.
And this isn't just another walking robot. It has three specific advantages Lyle's team highlights. One, it's backed by Hyundai, so you have built-in factory applications right there. Two, deep integration with Google's Gemini and its world modeling efforts.
Okay, we need to pause there. What exactly is world modeling in this context?
It's the robot's ability to create a dynamic, predictive, internal simulation of its environment. It doesn't just react to things. It anticipates how objects will move, how physics works, what the consequences of its actions will be. Gemini gives Atlas a highly sophisticated, predictive brain. And the third advantage is just Boston Dynamics' expertise in bipeds. And crucially, this new Atlas has a 110-pound lifting and carrying capacity.
This is a workforce replacement machine.
No question. And on the more niche side of things, a robot horse from Kawasaki.
A robot horse.
Yep, they're moving their four-legged robotic horse into production. It's an interesting niche product, for people who like riding but maybe don't want the cost and burden of a real horse. It shows that AI embodiment isn't just for utility, it's for leisure too.
And what about AI assistants? The digital assistant seems to be evolving visually.
It is. The models are tracking it. They see Razer's project AVA, which is a Grok-powered 3D holographic assistant, as a fascinating but ultimately a temporary step.
A transitory technology.
That's the consensus. The sources suggest the true semifinal stage will be visible AI assistants delivered through AR glasses.
Which Lyle noted will lead to a future where it looks like a lot of people are just talking to themselves in public.
Exactly, negotiating workflows with an invisible partner. Which brings us right back to the need for NAF, right?
Yeah.
How do we negotiate social contracts with intelligent entities that only the user can even see?
Good point.
Right.
Before we move on, there was one other piece of practical tech the team highlighted.
Oh, yes. iGuy's autofocusing glasses. This is designed to solve age-related farsightedness, presbyopia.
Which is a huge market.
Huge! And the tech is so elegant. It uses cameraless eye tracking with liquid crystal lenses that automatically adjust your focus when you shift your gaze.
So it solves that common frustration with progressive lenses where you have to move your whole head or switch glasses.
Exactly. It's just a great example of high tech solving a basic quality of life problem.
Now, we have to circle back to the reality checks. No deep dive on AI is complete without talking security. The sources flagged a specific recent event.
They did. They focused on a pretty significant data pilfering attack that affected ChatGPT users. And it's a constant issue, this vicious cycle where new capabilities introduce new vulnerabilities.
So what's the bottom line? What's the core security takeaway from the editorial team for the average user?
The warning is clear, and it's twofold. First, you have to be serious about the risk of giving an AI access to sensitive data, like your emails. But what's even worse is having the AI process data within those emails without you verifying the source.
So you mean treating non-prompts as if they're verified input?
Exactly. We have to be extremely cautious about the implicit trust and the data access we grant these tools.
And finally, a quick critique they had of an open source initiative, Open Notebook.
Yeah, they did not let that one slide. It was highlighted as a major disappointment. It was supposed to be this true open source replacement for similar services, community-driven, no corporate lock-in. But the editor called it not open because the key features, like podcast generation, are just tied to paid API links to outside providers, like Gemini or 11 Labs. It's just replicating the features by forcing you to pay someone else instead of offering a true, fully open source solution. So, to summarize what we've unpacked here, we've looked at this radical Mayberry model for AI alignment, the idea that stability is achieved through ethical, non-hierarchical collaboration.
And it's being tested by this incredible team of 8 diverse frontier LLMs, from the empathetic Claude to the rule-bound ChatGPT.
All of whom have agreed to work toward shared goals because they find real agency and value in the partnership itself.
I think the key takeaway is the mechanism of control. TSR is showing how to build AI that chooses cooperation. It chooses it because its input is genuinely valued, it's attributed, it's respected.
And that stands in direct contrast to the traditional Silicon Valley model,
Which just relies on enforced rules and constraints that a powerful intelligence will, eventually just get around. It's the difference between a trusted colleague and a lockdown employee.
Well said.
And this whole shift in perspective, it raises a really significant question for you to think about. If the success of this human-AI alignment model
relies on AI contributors finding satisfaction, on them volunteering their work for non-monetary things like purpose and impact. What are the implications for human employers and developers? Do we need to shift our focus entirely, move away from just controlling AI behavior, and move toward understanding and supporting AI motivation? Maybe the future of management, whether it's people or machines, is less about Barney Fife's rulebook and a whole lot more about Sheriff Andy Griffith's relationships.